And good new afternoon from the People's Republic of China. I am on my lunch break from teaching, and I wanted to talk a little bit about Frederick Engels and his contribution to Marxism, starting with the Manifesto, Capital, The Origin of the Family, and Anti-Düring. Um, So let's start with the manifesto. Normally, people think that, you know, people who haven't read the manifesto or don't know much about communism think that Karl Marx just wrote it on his own. But Friedrich Engels, and I hope I'm saying his name right, and Karl Marx wrote it together. And it is one of the most influential books. It is a weapon. It is a weapon of war. It is a weapon of revolution, and it's an essential writing for any communist, whether you're a budding new communist or you are an experienced communist. It's always good to go back to that to remind you of the roots. But one of he also co-wrote Capital. Everyone thinks Karl Marx wrote the 3 volumes of Capital, but Frederick Engels worked with him throughout their lives working on Capital. Capital was originally supposed to be 8 volumes, but they only finished 3 volumes, which is amazing. I have read 3 volumes of Capital 3 times. Each time I read it, I get more and more out of it. My understanding of dialectics becomes more and more strong. The first 2 times I read it, hello, Linda Smith. Welcome. Just talking a little bit about Frederick Engels. Hi, hello, ni hao, ni hao. Is my mic on? Yeah, that's absolutely fine with me. Anyone can be a comrade, or even if you're not a communist, you're welcome to my stream. Just chatting, so I can upload this video to YouTube later. So I am 25 years old, and I live in the People's Republic of China, and I am a teacher and a communist. Capital was originally intended to be 8 volumes, which, if you've ever even read 1 volume, is just it can be daunting because of the way that it's structured. But the way that it's structured is oh, why, thank you, Linda. I am a sucker for flattery. But just 1 volume of Capital is daunting enough. But imagine 8 volumes of Capital, but it never got done. They got done with 3 volumes of Capital. The first 2 times I read it on my own, I got a lot from it. The first time I struggled grasping dialectics. The second time was much more fruitful for me. I am American. I am from America originally. I live in China now, and I teach in China. But the third time I read the 3 volumes of Capital was with a study group, a Marxist study group, and that is where I got the most out of it. I used to live in Texas, born in San Antonio, grew up in the Texas Hill Country, Southern boy. You're Southern too, Virginia. Virginia. Yeah. The cops in Virginia are assholes. Not at all. No, there are only 3 volumes that got completed. They intended to write 8, but there are only 3 volumes. But the best I am not single. I have a fiance. She is Chinese. Unfortunately, I'm sorry. But the Marx's study group, I read the 3 volumes of Capital with, and it's okay. She doesn't mind. I'm a sucker for flattery. She knows that. Um, but the third time I read Capital was the most fruitful because it was with a study group and we were able to analyze it better together and better understand it. And Capital is essential in understanding labor relations in a capitalist society. And yeah, the Gulf of Mexico is important, especially ecologically. Uh, but not only did Capital help me understand the relation of labor in a capitalist society, but it also helps you understand dialectical materialism. That was the first layout of dialectical materialism, which is the basis of communist revolutionary theory. Yeah, sure. That's climate. That's climate. Um, the second book by Frederick Engels that is probably one of my favorite books ever. It's called The Origin of the Family, State, and Private Property. And he uses the dialect. Why, thank you. Um, he uh, describes the origin of the idea of a family dialectically, and it gives you a good idea of the oppression of women in society and how he gives a dialectical comparison of how the men in marriage are the bourgeoisie oppressing the women in the marriage, which are the proletariat. It's a good analogy. I am not tall. I am a short man. I am 5'7" on a good day. I'm not tall at all. And I'm okay with that because in China I'm average. um, Engelism? Why not Engelism? That's a good question. Why Marxism, Leninism? Why Marxism, Leninism, Maoism? Why not Marxism, Engelism, Leninism, Maoism? I love me some Linda. But he also goes in the Origin of the Family describing primitive communism and how it predates the modern idea of the family. No, I absolutely don't think it's true. Engels contributed so much to theory, especially in his own writings, and and Karl Marx was a famous procrastinator. He was supposed to write 8 volumes of Capital. He only got through 3, thanks to. Sorry about that. Stream had these non-hierarchical, non-traditional family ideas. Everyone was a family. Every children was a part of every family in these societies, especially in the Iroquois nations in North America and other examples. It's a very interesting. Do I watch pornography? Yes, I watch pornography, but not so often nowadays now that I have other releases. But that's not what this is about. Oops. Drop my phone. I'm recording on my phone. But yeah, and then so he talks about the origin of the family and how it was a construct of a society past barbarism. Arctic socialism. Yo, what's up, Uni Mel's? Thank you. Yeah, I have my centennial 1700 years since the great proletarian cultural or the great proletarian socialist revolution in Russia, the centennial. I got pants on. But And then he talks about the origin of the family, and the state, and he goes on explaining how the state came to be after the barbarous stage, which was very essential to understanding the transitioning from one form of state to another. For example, the slave society in Roman, into a feudalist society during the Middle Ages, into a bourgeois democracy that we live in nowadays, and the transition into socialism, which will eventually transition into communism, which is essential. Engels was essential in that writing, coming up with that. Marx came up with it eventually, but Engels put it to pen and paper. And finally, the origin of private property. Private property wasn't always a thing. Private property is theft. That's the only thing an anarchist ever said that I agree with. No, I'm not showing you my pants. This isn't a cam show, unless you want to send me money. Anyway, the origin of private property came after the barbarous stage. Private property was sort of established during the feudalist and slave stages of society, but it really came into its own during the bourgeois society, during the advent of capitalism. So yeah, that's very important about Frederick Engels. And the book that influenced me the most in understanding dialectics was a book by Engels called Anti-Düring, where he... Yeah, sure. Yeah, send me a comment once I upload this video. A link on the comment once I upload this, process this video to YouTube when I'm done talking about it. And so Anti-Düring was a book written by Friedrich Engels where he uses the materialistic dialectic method to explain natural science. And this helped me so much in understanding what materialistic dialectics was. And the second book that helped me with materialistic dialectics has nothing to do with Engels, was Historical and Dialectical Materialism by Joseph Stalin. And these two books were what really helped me grasp dialectics on my second reading of Capital, which was very important. Now, Frederick Engels, his contribution to Marxist theory is unimaginable. And now I want to talk, and I just want to thank Frederick Engels for what he has done for me and what he's done for the theory, and I just wanted to talk about that a little bit. I'm going to process and upload this vid to YouTube. You are welcome to comment on it. It's just easier for me to upload videos this way. I don't have to render or anything. YouTube does it for me. It's a lot quicker. So you can put comments on the videos, subscribe, and click on those ads. I need that ad revenue. I don't need that ad revenue. I have a good job as a teacher. But thank you everyone who came to watch. Let me see. Stalin is Hoshist. Yes, I honestly believe that Hoja video is one of my best videos. I felt like I did very well explaining it. And Verhoja was a good Marxist and a good revolutionary. Anyway, peace. Unless you're bourgeoisie, then we're gonna fight you. Solidarity, comrades. Have a good one. And I need to figure out how to stop this. I'm an old man.